All right, let's talk about Tua. Tua here did not necessarily have his best game, which is kind of weird because the offense still dominated. So there certainly were still plenty of good stuff here with Tua and with the Dolphins offense, but there were some issues as well. So let's talk about it all. Let's talk about the positives. Let's talk about the negatives with Tua, and maybe where do we go from here, because he kind of had a weird stat line. Ends up with multiple touchdowns or multiple interceptions on the day, which isn't good. He still had a passer rating over 100 at 100.4, which you don't see that stat line too often. So yeah, let's talk about it all. So first, let's start off with this play. It's going to be a man coverage play, and I want to start off with this one because, what do we talk about with Tua? And we're going to talk about it here as well. Definitely, there is a bit of throwing a screen pass for 95 yards type of stuff with Tua. That's an exaggeration, but you know what I mean. That does happen. He does have great teammates. Can't hold that against him. But at the same time, that is going to inflate his stats. One thing I do like to talk about, though, is Tua can make plays. Like, Tua isn't, I think when he first came into the league, he did struggle at being sort of a playmaker. He was kind of really only good at the on-script stuff. He's really improved a long way. I think in the biggest category he's improved has been his playmaking. And this play is a good example. Watch what happens. Tua's going to take the snap. He looks over, and it doesn't matter where he's looking. Nothing is really open. Again, you could throw up a jump ball if you wanted to somewhere, but you don't want to do that. Again, especially against the Giants, you want to wait for someone to get open. The issue is you can't wait any longer. There's pressure coming. But watch how Tua's going to get outside the pocket and run up towards the top of the screen, and now is just waiting until a receiver does start to get open. This is Jalen Waddle, the guy who I've circled right there. So Waddle's the guy to look at, and hey, nice to have him back, right? He's not wide open, though. This is going to be a tough throw. But Tua makes the off-balance, tough throw. They get it to Jalen Waddle and get the touchdown. I mean, those were things that were on tape. He is capable of doing this. It's really good stuff. That's definitely an aspect of the Dolphins offense. Also, going over here, there's no denying this is also a part of the Dolphins offense, right? I mean, again, we all know this, right? We all know that, yes, it does help that you have these plays added to your stat sheet where you're going to flip the ball to Tyreek Hill here. Watch as Tua takes the snap. He flips the ball to Tyreek Hill, who in this spot, okay, well blocked by Miami for sure, but you got defenders coming, 19's coming in. You have a defender right behind him as well. How many more yards are you expecting him to get? Well, this is why I still feel like, if you ask me on any given day, I might give you a different answer on who the best wide receiver is, but I feel like the guy who I'm most consistently saying is Tyreek Hill, who had a very casual 181 yards in this game, and I feel like no one's even talking about it because that's just what we expect from Tyreek Hill. But watch how, he's going to just completely get to the other side of the field and just the speed. Even right now, pausing it right here, even here, if it's a typical wide receiver, you're expecting him to go down in another 5 yards or so. For Tyreek Hill, you're wondering if anyone's going to catch him. And as you see, I guess someone does catch him, but not before he picks up another 45 or so yards after that point where I paused it. That's just an incredible play by, I think, the best weapon in football in Tyreek Hill. Jefferson's great. Devontae Adams is great. There's other guys who are fantastic, but he's really good at football, and you can see why the Dolphins gave up 5 picks for him. It wasn't enough. I think that, I still think they feel good about that trade. They could have given up more picks and still feel great about that trade. This one's another example of just the dominance that he brings to the table where, first off, got to give some criticism to the Giants. So on paper, it's a cover 2 man. All right, makes sense. You have a safety deep. So for Hill, he can't just run the deep shot here on 3rd and 4. You do have another safety deep. However, when this play begins, the safety does not, he kind of moves in a pretty good deal, leaving this to be a one-on-one matchup on the outside with a corner and press coverage against Tyreek Hill. You can't do that. You can never do that. That should never once happen. If you one time leave Tyreek Hill one-on-one on the outside, you're going to give up a touchdown. He's too good. Watch as Hill gets wide open here. And also, look at that ball from Tua. Because, again, that should have been a completion at that point. You're expecting a completion with how open Tyreek Hill got. But the fact that he put it in a perfect spot to allow Hill to make the catch and continue running after the catch and get all the way into the end zone for a touchdown, those are the little things that make the difference with Tua, right? Because as much as we want to say, oh, look at the yards after the catch, and like I said, yeah, that's a factor. We all know that's a factor. Part of it is to the credit of Tua, too. I feel like that never gets talked about. Part of why Tyreek Hill gets so many yards after the catch is because Tua puts the ball in position to where he can continue running right after he makes the catch and doesn't have to slow down, and that's what he's able to do there. All right, let's talk the negatives. If you're someone who's watching this video to hear me criticize Tua, I guess this is the part that you get excited about. And if you're here to just watch a hype video about Tua, I guess this is when you turn it off. This wasn't great. This is a bad play. This was just a bad play. I don't know how else to describe it. 3rd down and goal here. And again, you're playing the Giants. Don't do anything stupid. The Giants aren't a good football team, right? You don't want to don't want to put yourself in harm's way here. Tua takes the snap. You're going to look up. It's, Jalen Waddle. You see the route. I don't know what he's thinking on this play. This is not even close to being open. You have a defender right in front of him. I'm assuming he just never saw that defender, I guess. I don't know. Maybe this is an example of him making the decision before making the throw. Because watch how he makes the throw. It gets batted up and intercepted. Usually I kind of say, hey, if it's a tipped ball interception, I'm not going to criticize you. But that was tipped because it bounced off both of the defender's hands and went straight up in the air. Like, that should have been an interception. It was dropped and then still became an interception. So no, that was a bad play by Tua. That was one that I don't really know what he was thinking there. Definitely an error. Also, the other interception I'm not as hard on with Tua. And again, you're going to make mistakes. The idea that you're going to go through a whole season without making mistakes is obviously silly. But again, these are mistakes. If I'm making a video talking about his game, I have to talk about the good and the bad. You have a receiver who's going to be running a route over the middle. That's where Tua is going to look on this 3rd down and 4 situation. And still a ball game, I should mention. Like, you feel good if you're a Dolphins fan, up 14 with 7 minutes left in the 3rd. But still, don't want to turn the ball over for sure. Tua's going to take the snap right here. Bit of a high snap, but, he handles it nicely. Is in this spot. You have a receiver, it's once again Jalen Waddle. So both his interceptions came targeting Jalen Waddle. I think Tua is expecting Waddle to kind of stop, or I think it's certainly flatten the route. I think he's expecting him to not go any shallower or deeper. Just kind of stay, around that 30-yard marker. But watch how far in Waddle moves. He runs basically to the line of scrimmage. The ball goes over his head. Waddle, I don't know what he was thinking there. So to me, that's on Waddle. Like, I'm not sure if that's a completion either way, but I don't think that was a missed throw. I think maybe it was a little bit because there was a little bit of pressure, but I think that's just Waddle put his head down at the worst possible time and looked over to see, if he had some room. Tua threw it at the worst possible time. It gets intercepted. First one was a bad play by Tua. To me, this was just a miscommunication with a player who, you didn't play with for a little bit, so maybe you're just not quite on the same page, not as used to playing with each other right now. It's an issue, and it's something they do need to fix. This was a play that could have potentially gotten the Giants back into the game at that point, as they were able to get the ball, in field goal range, but they weren't really able to, weren't able to get into the end zone. This did not change momentum too much. Miami was still able to dominate at this, from this point on. So wasn't a big deal in this game, but little things they want to fix as they start to play some bit better competition. That kind of goes without saying, I think. But still, don't have to worry about that next week, playing Carolina, who doesn't seem to be pretty good. But in the week after, you got the Philadelphia Eagles, a team that's undefeated currently. That should be an interesting game, so we'll see what happens there. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Tua and the Dolphins in this game. Not his best performance. We've seen him play better, but at the end of the day, when not your best performance is still putting up over 10 yards per attempt, you're feeling all right if you're a Dolphins fan. That's what I think. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from y'all. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.